all the disrespect before you play back. Button check. Button check.
What is up, Butt Check family? Welcome back to a beautiful HT of Checking These Buttons. We have two videos for you today. Chapters down below, sub button right there. Obviously, this is the first video of the day. We are, if I could talk, going to announce the winner of the Obstacore weight bench. We did it last week. We got the winner. We're gonna announce them at the end of this video. Good luck to everybody, but before that, we got some buttons to check. Let's go. All right, first up, we went from just a couple of years ago to why esports is dying while the FGC is thriving, to the rise and fall of the fighting game tournaments, buttons that need to be checked. What the hell is happening? The sad reality that we live in. You know, I was scrolling the other day, kind of looking to see what stories to do next, and I saw somebody post this video. At the time, it had like barely any views. It was called The Rise and Fall of the Fighting Game Tournaments. And I was like, poof, this is probably gonna be a banger. Now it has over 12,000 views. It's definitely catching some traction. Link down below, because I think the whole thing is, hold on, yeah, over 24 minutes. We're only gonna check out a couple of minutes. But before that, I was like, how interesting, right? Because we went from where somebody posted why esports is dying while the FGC is thriving just 2 years ago. And that video has over 200,000 views, right? Talking about how the FGC is strong, how we survive, how we overcome anything, especially esports. And then we go from a video like that to the rise and fall of the fighting game community tournaments. Let's start it.
Are still kept alive through services like Fightcade, giving amazing rollback netcode to long-fought dead games, and the community has since seen a massive boost with the critically acclaimed Street Fighter 6 releasing this year, leading to the biggest EVO tournament ever, with a player count of over 10,000 entrants for all of the different games. 7,000 of those people playing in the Street Fighter brackets. Let's be real, if you want to become a pro League of Legends or Counter-Strike player, there's a couple of hoops that you gotta jump through. You don't only have to get to the top ranks of these games, you then have to prove that you're good enough to play with the pros and either get scouted or apply to amateur teams to get on those rosters. Only from there can you begin to show your stuff and hope that a pro team scouts you, and if you don't get scouted, then you're fucked, kid. Career's over. Are you over the age of 25? Man, you're a fucking boomer. Get lost, old man. Go play Mahjong or some shit. Why don't you go whittle your ways in the critically acclaimed MMO Final Fantasy XIV? I fucking did that for a bit. Major tournaments that happen all over the world and allow for anyone and everyone to enter and show people what they're made of. Due to just how easy it is to join the competitive fighting game community, the competitions for this game have reached record-breaking heights and make them some of the most fun esports to watch. The growth of the fighting game community and the major events it champions were organic. The events we see as our milestones came from grassroots.
Okay, so to go from that video just 2 years ago from Gecko Squirrel, his link down below if you guys want to check him out, titled Why Esports Are Dying While the FGC is Thriving, to go to this video just a few days ago talking about the rise and fall of the fighting game tournaments, and this is by Shocking Coast TV, their link down below as well. Check this clip out.
But from the inside, it is a financial minefield. We truly need to kill the myth that tournament organizers are getting rich off your venue fee.
We were literally just talking about this yesterday. In yesterday's video, how every damn tournament organizer is like either in debt from running tournaments or breaking even if they're lucky. Only the very few, like some big ones, CEO, Evo, something like that, are actually getting some money. But even them had to like years and years of hustle to get to that status. Either way, let's continue.
Revenue comes in, the cost tax eats that revenue, and what's left is either survival money or debt. And the reason this scene keeps losing legendary events is simple. The cost stack has grown faster than the revenue stack. First, the venue trap. At scale, you don't just rent a room, you sign a contract that comes with targets and penalties. Hotels want room nights, convention centers want union compliance, everybody wants deposits, everybody wants deadlines. If your attendees sleep off-site to save money, the organizer can still get punished because the contract wasn't built around your good intentions, it was built around the venue's guaranteed profit. Second, the labor trap. Old school events were powered by volunteer hustle, whereas modern scale needs paid people.
100%. So when I first started, I was actually doing a lot of these tournaments. Like I said, I was on some that were on the CPT, especially in the Dallas scene. The crazy thing is, the way my career started off in the FGC, I was just doing comedy sketches. Then I found the FGC, so I started doing FGC comedy sketches. Event Hubs recognized me. They started giving me notoriety. People started like kind of coming. That's how I kind of got in touch with Mike Ross and started working with him a little bit. So it was this whole thing. Everything that was directed in my career for the FGC was not button check. It's the craziest thing. It was for me to be a host. It was for me to be one of these guys that you see as a commentator or something like that. A lot of these guys, I was here before them, doing it before them. I was hosting these tournaments. People were even writing articles like Ernesto nailed this thing. And I promise you, I'm not trying to blow my own whistle right here. I'm just saying this is what was happening. So everything was like geared up to me being like, I don't know, one of these like personalities or hosts, I should say. One of these hosts, possibly even commentators in the fighting game community. But the more I did that, the more I realized it was hard as hell to do that because the travel and a lot of stuff was coming out of your own pocket. And at the time, I didn't have it. Hell, some of these tournaments still owe me money, right? So I would do it out of the love. That's what he's talking about right here. A lot of this relied on the FGC's back because we were doing it out of the love. But there comes a point when you have to do it for the money, especially when you have a family. Button check literally came out of nowhere. I was just talking about this yesterday. The community created it. I was like, the numbers went through the roof, and I was like, okay, this is where we're at. And then all my attention went here.
Because you're dealing with crowds, safety, schedules, and liability, security, medical, tech crew, and don't forget the bracket runners who are the unsung heroes. They actually sustain the pace. At this point, staffing is no longer optional. Third, then there is the you must pay to be professional trap. We're talking power, internet, loading rules, equipment rules. I know it's a lot, right? But these things have become real line items, especially when you hit the level that you're leaving the friendly ballrooms and you're now entering venues built for corporate events. The moment you need professional infrastructure, you start paying professional prices. Fourth, the timing trap. This one kills people quietly because the venue wants money up front. Sponsors often pay later, and I mean much later.
Oh yeah, we hear the nightmares from players all the time talking about it's been a year, where's my money? And they'll blast them on Twitter because they're like, yo, you're ignoring my messages. I've tried to be polite and professional. I'm going to just air this out on Twitter so hopefully you actually start moving because you guys owed me money. And then people respond, yep, they owe me money for 6 months, 7 months. Everybody in the damn tournament responding. Some people said, I still am owed money from like 2 or 3 years. That's the sad reality.
Registration is capped. You can only sell as many tickets as the venue allows. Fire codes don't care about your demands. Stream money is also not a miracle. Unless you're at the very top, it's just mostly marketing value and not pay the venue value. Now, sponsors can be big, but they're not all guarantees and they are not always on your timeline. And if the sponsor money is your life support, you are one bad year from becoming a crisis.
That's the thing too, sponsor money at certain tournaments, you're lucky if the sponsor is giving you merchandise. I was actually able to hook up a tournament with gaming chairs. I was having a particular gaming chair company that I was working with on Button Check, and I was actually able to provide some gaming chairs to them. So we're lucky, not even talking about money, just merchandise. If we can get, oh, these headsets were donated by Razer or something like that. If you can get that, you're lucky. Money, oh, that's a whole different level.
Case 1, final round. Final round suffered from a load-bearing organizer problem. The entire infrastructure lived inside one person's brain. Now, when an event scales past a certain point, it has to evolve from one person's willpower into an organization with redundancy, clear lanes, clear roles, and clear backstops. Final round struggled to make that jump. The chaos people remembered wasn't because the organizer hated the community, it was because the system outgrew the structure. And when the backlash hit, it hit one person, not a brand, and eventually the person said, I can't keep doing this. Lesson: if your event cannot survive the founder stepping away, you do not have a business.
Damn.
You have a heroic effort that grew too big.
Damn.
Case.
Wow. If that's not some damn bars. He said, if you have an event that grew to, if you have an event that can't survive the owner stepping away, you don't have a business. You have a hero with effort that grew too big. Oh my God. Damn if that ain't some damn truth. That's honestly, I think, where the FGC failed in a lot of ways. We had a bunch of heroes. We had a bunch of heroes, still do, but we had a bunch of heroes with a lot of effort, and then time and money eventually took its toll.
Study 2. Seasons Beatings. Cause of death, losing the host venue. Seasons Beatings wasn't just a tournament. It was a specific atmosphere. It was the gritty, cramped, sweaty heart of the Midwest scene. But its superpower was also its fatal blow. It was symbolic with a venue called Momo. Momo's was a LAN center and an arcade in Columbus. It was their cheat code. It allowed the event to run cheap. They didn't have to pay union labor. They didn't have a strict hotel attrition. They could run matches all night long without venue staffing shutting off the lights. When Momo's lost its lease and shut down, Seasons Beatings lost its lungs. The organizers, Godlike Entertainment, they tried to pivot. They ran Seasons Beatings Ascension in a standard hotel. It was a well-run event, but the organizers soon realized that without the specific economics of a friendly venue, the math completely changed. They were now competing with every other hotel.
Shout out to Viscount. Y'all remember Viscount? Here he is. One day you're going to want to come back at me, and you're going to want to take the taste of my out your mouth. Shout out to Viscount.
Major, without the unique identity that made them special. Sadly, but also understandably, they chose to retire the brand rather than bleed it dry in a generic ballroom. The lesson here was, in the FGC, a venue isn't just a container, it's part of the product itself. Case study 3, Canada Cup. Canada Cup didn't just want to be a major, it wanted to be a world major.
Damn.
Organizer Lapchi Duong had the ambition to...
Shout out to Lapchi. Do you know I got to meet Lapchi? I got to talk to Lapchi. He actually blessed us on this channel. He donated a couple of times. Like, he's the man. I think he left to ultimately go into real estate. I know he was at one point, something like that. But eventually he had to close it all down. Shout out to Lap, man. Shout out.
Flying in international gods for legendary 5-on-5 exhibitions. Yeah, I know you remember those. Team Japan versus Team USA versus Team Europe. But Canada also fights a war against physics and geography. It is expensive to fly into, the exchange rate hurts your purchasing power, and unlike the dense US East Coast, there isn't a massive population of local players within driving distance to subsidize the venue costs.
Oh, well, check this out. One year, I was actually supposed to go help in host, like be a personality at Canada Cup, and he was telling me I would go in room with Mike Ross. And I was like, what the fuck? That would actually be a cool thing, but I couldn't afford the ticket. I was told like a month in advance, and I said I would try. I could not afford the ticket. Never happened for me.
It was just pure panic. It was a TO looking at a spreadsheet that was bleeding red, trying to find a lifeline to pay for the flights that he had already booked. And yes, Canada Cup survived for years by grinding, but the math of prestige in a high-cost location just eventually became unsustainable. For a decade, SBO was the arcade Super Bowl. It was the hardest tournament in the world to win.
God,
But in
so
2012, they made a fatal error. They moved the event outdoors to a festival location in Narita, which was far from the city center. It was a disaster. The heat was brutal, the glare on the arcade screens made the games unplayable, cabinets were overheating and crashing mid-match. To make it worse, the stream was locked behind a Nico Nico paywall, alienating the global audience.
Damn.
The backlash was instantaneous, the players felt disrespected. On the day, many of the spectators already left even before the grand finals.
Damn.
And sadly, the prestige evaporated in a single weekend.
Sound familiar? They offended the community because it was set behind a paywall. Oh, shit.
You don't need to list every tournament to understand the modern era. You just need to understand who survives and why. The first archetype is the festival major. Combo Breaker is the clean example of it's not just watch top 8, it's a full convention style experience where attendees matter.
Yep.
Side events, weird games, community energy, vendors, culture. It's built to satisfy the people who actually pay to be there. The third archetype, the regional anchor. Some events
I was just
survive
about
by
to say
becoming the
Frosty.
main reference point for the whole region. If you want to compete at a serious level in that region, that event becomes a default. That concentration creates critical mass, and critical mass pays bills.
And look,
And then there are the ghosts. The tournaments that were legendary but didn't fit the new survival types. Some didn't die in scandal, they just got squeezed by cost, calendar and burnout until the math stops working. If the scene starts reorganizing around one giant payday, the center of gravity shifts away from the grassroots events. The danger isn't that locals evaporate tomorrow. The danger is the bridge between the community and the professional player gets weaker. And once that bridge weakens, the ecosystem becomes two separate worlds.
damn.
The professional tier becomes polished, centralized, and heavily funded. The community tier stays scrappy, fragmented, and survival based. And the big question becomes, do we still have a pipeline, or do we end up with a split reality? So putting all of this together, is the scene dying? No, but it is gentrifying. Like walking into that old crappy neighborhood of yours and realizing that you can't afford to live here anymore. The mom and pop era of tournaments is ending. The big institutions era is here. They were the casualties of an industry that's still learning how to be a business. The rise was built on obsession, but the fall was built on math. And the math doesn't care about your nostalgia.
The math does not care about your nostalgia. It's a good watch. Like I said, go watch you some Rise and Fall, the fighting game tournaments by Shocking Coast TV. Link down below. The channel's not too big, so show them the love, man, for real. This was well done, and it makes you think, holy shit, how many tournaments have I been to that are now deceased, that are now not there? And I remember the ones that I was, whether they were small or big. Should I remember they held a tournament at Choctaw Casino in Oklahoma, which was the weirdest shit ever. That's some of the most money I've ever made. And I'm not talking about from the casino. I'm talking about from just being hired to be the host. And the reason why is because they had a huge sponsor at the time. You know how many people we had in the audience? Maybe 10. Maybe 10 people in the audience. The rest were there playing the game. In total, I don't know, maybe 30, 25, something like that. It was such a weird location, but they did it simply for the sponsor. Then so many other tournaments where people were bickering behind the scenes, just trying to get it right, malfunctions, you know, arguing with the hotel staff or something like that. There are so many moving parts. So when you get all that and you times all of this from the Rise and Fall, the fighting game tournaments, plus the fact that we're just getting older. Everybody that you saw in this video, all of us, right? We started what I came up with. I mean, I've been knowing about the FGC for a minute, but I started in the early stages of Street Fighter 4, and that's when the whole world opened up to me via Dirty Low. You know what I'm saying? All the OGs and all the beauty that we saw then, we're all older now, bro. We're all in our late 30s, 40s, some 50s, you know what I'm saying? Kids, some people even got grandkids, jobs, spouses, mortgages. It's a different time altogether. And you see it online all the time. People will just say, I just simply don't have the time anymore. So with all of that in the equation, we now come to the rise and fall of the fighting game tournament. And like he was saying, is the scene completely dying? No, but it is going through its own re-gentrification in a way. How y'all feeling? Let me know. And there it is, Butt Check family, these depressing set of buttons. Thank you guys for tuning in one more time, man. At least we still got Butt Check. Butt Check is here. Okay, all right, now into the winner of the giveaway for Ops Decor. We had a lot of people enter. Here is the winner. Congratulations. This will shipped or be shipped directly to you free of charge. I need you to contact me at my email. So you could either, well, actually on the last video, the one that you commented on, I left you a comment. So follow those instructions, email me, hit me up, and go back to that last video where you put your hashtag, you know, to enter into the contest, and then hit me up on the email. Because if you don't respond within 48 hours, I have to pick a new winner. And yes, you have to be United States participant, Hawaii excluded. So either way, let's go. Here is the winner. Drum roll, please. That's my drums. Anyway, here we go. It is Frost NYC. Congratulations. Keep up the grind, King. Been rocking with you for a minute. You are the winner of the giveaway. Please contact me at my email, which I left you, like I said, on the last video. We could chop it up, get you that weight bench. If not, I gotta choose another winner in 2 days, so congratulations. So there it is one more time, Butt Check family. Thank you guys for tuning in. There will be a second video later tonight. We have some more announcements to make, more giveaways coming up, so thank you guys for everything. We got some new Patreons, new supporters, all that's gonna be announced on the second video. So either way, stay tuned. I'll see you guys later tonight, and as always, I don't know what it is, y'all. No matter what, even though this is happening, somehow, some way, it's about to get better. Love y'all forever. Peace.
Blah, blah, blah. Subscribe.
Here's Butt Check family, these depressing set of buttons. Thank you guys for tuning in one more time, man. At least we still got Butt Check. Butt Check is here.
I'm still here. What more?